Growing up as kids, my brother and I used to play a lot of video games together. More often than not, they happened to be Nintendo video games. It wasn't really anything against any of the other game systems, it was just what our parents bought. But we really enjoyed playing the N64 and the GameCube and later on the Wii. As we grew up, we started to play other companies, but I like to think, at least, that our best childhood memories still lie with Nintendo. And the man mostly responsible for many of those memories is Shigeru Miyamoto, who is currently the Senior Marketing Director and General Manager at Nintendo, but he is also one of the leading minds there. He was born on November 16th, 1952 in Kyoto, Japan. But to start off, I'd like to go through a brief history of Nintendo as a corporation. In 1889, Nintendo started off producing gambling cards called Hanafuda. These were very popular in Japan at the time, and throughout the 1900s, they continued to produce these Hanafuda as well as children's toys. But in the 70s, they started to take a turn in a different direction. They started trying to create arcade games. Now, Miyamoto's father got him an interview with the ex-CEO of Nintendo, Yamauchi. And Yamauchi hired Shigeru Miyamoto on as an artist. He went to school for industrial design and had never worked with video games really before, but he was working as an artist. So in the 70s, Nintendo was trying to produce this arcade game called Radar Scope, and upon its failure, they needed a new idea. So Shigeru Miyamoto took the game Radar Scope and modded it and created Donkey Kong, which released in 1981, and which had massive popularity in the United States. So along with this original Donkey Kong, Miyamoto continued to make many great works. He made the Mario Brothers, The Legend of Zelda, F-Zero, Pikmin, Star Fox. He had many of the base designs for these, but he attributes many of these towards his childhood, where he spent a lot of time outside playing by himself. So he would take a shovel and just kind of dig and discover things. And one time he discovered a cave, and he still uses this cave today as one of his main sources of inspiration. You can see it very well in Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, as well as the Pikmin series. During his time with Nintendo, he not only innovated software, but he also worked very hard on the hardware. When the N64 was coming out, he worked very hard to pioneer the 3D graphics. Since this was a new technology at the time, there were really no rules, so they just made things up as they went, and Miyamoto was one of the leads in designing the 3D graphics. But as time continued, he also started working on the Wii. He himself worked a lot on the hardware and making it as intuitive as possible and making it as good as it could possibly be. He continued on to help with the Wii U in designing the gamepad with the touchscreen as well as the motion control and buttons similar to a GameCube. Even though Miyamoto has succeeded in so much of his work at Nintendo, he still remains very humble today. He only accepts moderate pay. He still rides his bike to work every day. And sometimes even when he's had a massive role in the game, he won't even credit himself. He attributes a lot of the work to his team. So now many of us are hoping that Miyamoto will stay with Nintendo and continue to revolutionize and innovate the video game industry as he already has.